Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Gingerbox here. And I'm going to be reading some more Decorum, Book 3, Chapter 2, Part 2. And let's get into this, guys. Soon you arrive back at the Edgewater estate, where you find your grandmother speaking to Viscount Harry, in the foyer. To have you home at last, my dear boy. It brings my heart such joy. The estate is a sight for sore eyes, indeed. Your time in France, strikes me as most intriguing. Might you regale me with a story? To be honest, Lady Grandmother, I'm not ready to discuss it just yet. Let's go here. It is. He stared at you for a long moment, his expression impossible to read. And that's exactly why I wish to put the matter to rest. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have affairs to attend to. He brushes past you and hurries up the stairs. You sigh and turn to your grandmother. I've barely had the chance to speak 2 words to Viscount Harry since he returned. I would think he'd be happy at the prospect of getting to know his sister, as I am to know my brother. I'm sure there will be opportunities to speak with him at dinner, my dear. I hope you're right. A few hours later, you hear a knock at the front door. You move to answer it and find your grandmother doing the same. Mr. Sinclair waits on the other side, a careful folded bundle of fabric in his hands. Mr. Sinclair, if you're going to stay here, you ought to get used to just walking in. Yes, I suppose I should. Edgewater welcomes you, Mr. Sinclair, though I regret the circumstances. What do you have there? Something from Liverpool Park? Yes, it's for you, actually. He unfurls the bundle of fine satin and lace, revealing a lovely sapphire-colored gown with flowing skirts. It's beautiful. How did it survive the blaze? It was in a heavy trunk, and in the most intact wig of the manor. So luck, I suppose. My mother had it made for some ball or another, but never got the chance to wear it before. Well, I would be honored if you wore it, and it might serve as a reminder to me that not all of Liverpool Park was lost. Oh, Mrs. Sinclair, I'm so touched. I also suspect that a certain someone will find it quite fetching on you. That's really beautiful. I'm taking that. Oh my gosh. You quickly run up to your rooms to change. When you're ready, you return to the foyer. Mrs. Sinclair's eyes go wide when they see you. I'm sure I don't wear it just as she would, but my lady, you are a vision. Your dinner guests are sure to be impressed. I must agree, you look lovely. Now, as you will excuse me for a moment, I must change for dinner as well. You nod your head. Mr. Sinclair takes his leave of you. After a few moments, he returns in his evening wear. Come, my dear, dinner is nearly served. After you, my lady. You smooth over the fabric of your outfit with your hands, then lead the way into the dining room. You take your seat at the head of the table, and the first course is served. You lean over to Miss Parsons and whisper in her ear. My first official dinner as the mistress of Edgewater is really happening. Your father is smiling down on you in this moment. I'm sure of it. As you begin to eat, you survey the various conversations happening around you. Miss Parsons and Viscount Harry exchange whispers nearby, while Candace Harrieta glares at Mr. McCaster across the table. Sharing this table with you certainly takes me back, Viscount Harry. Meanwhile, you can hear Prince Hammond and Sir Luke engage in jovial conversation, and your grandmother offering condolences to Mrs. Sinclair. I'm sure the horses are pleased to see that you returned, Sir Luke. Mrs. Sinclair, I do hope you're settling in all right. Who shall I speak with first? These two. You turn your attention to Miss Parsons' Viscount Harry and catch snatches of the whispered conversation. Can you believe that old bag Westonleigh proposed to me? I blame you. He would never have made it past at an engaged woman, you know. Are you quite certain about that? You may have a point. In any case, he has a new fiancée now. I hear her name is Lady Lavina, but no one seems to have never met her. I can imagine a lady who would agree to marry such a bore. He lets out a soft chuckle, the edges of his lips quirking in a hint of a smile. He leans towards the two of them. Ah, yes. Mr. Harry's expression hardens and his voice is sour when he responds. I have no doubt you're right, my lady. He turns away and seems to study a painting on the far wall. You share a concerned look with Miss Parsons, but her eyes light out as they sweep across your form. I must say, you look quite calmly in that dress, my lady. On you, that style looks fresher than a fashion plate from Paris. I take that as high praise coming from Miss Annabel Parsons. You spare one more glance for Viscount Harry, then turn to join their conversation. Sir Luke, I hear you are also lucky enough to be a recipient of Countess Clare's hospitality. It's true. Alas, my lands are not yet ready for my arrival. Luckily, Edgewater has plenty of spare rooms to go around. Luckier still that the mistress of the house was kind enough to welcome me back. Here, Edgewater is far more interesting than the boarding rooms at Moorfield. Sorry. Between the two of you, Viscount Harry and now Mrs. Sinclair, is fuller than I've ever seen it. It reminds me of the hustle and bustle of my childhood home, with all my sisters underfoot. Aye, it feels like coming home to me too. It is your home, both of you, for as long as you require. A footman interrupts to offer the prince and the knight more wine, and you turn to survey the other conversations. I am so sorry to hear about the loss of Ledford Park, Mrs. Sinclair. Yes, it truly is a tragedy, sir. Your condolences are appreciated. Lady Grandmother, you must have spent some time there when Mrs. Sinclair's grandmother was alive, no? My lady, I didn't realize you and the late Mrs. Sinclair were close. Yes, I spent a great deal of time there. In fact, Mrs. Sinclair and I passed many an afternoon gossiping in her gardens. I have a particular fond memory of attending a party there with Queen Charlotte. Yes, there were many pleasant memories held there, I think that's what he said. It's always been a great estate. Surely that has not changed, no matter the damage. You are too kind, my lady. The dowager countess is right, sir. Ledford Park is more than the sum of its bricks. And you must know if there isn't any aid that Edgewater can offer. She stops herself short, a slight smile on her lips. I suppose that is your decision now, Countess Clare. Why, yes, it is, isn't it? And, Countess, of course we will offer anything you may need of us. Your grandmother offers Mrs. Sinclair the name of a builder, as you turn to your other guests. You find it difficult to ignore the heated whispers from nearby, as Countess Herrita fumes at Mr. McAllister. I still cannot believe you kept this secret from me. How could you bear to look at me when you knew full well that Harry was alive? Mother, I have told you, I am deeply sorry for the pain this has caused you, but it was Harry's decision. I won't apologize for keeping my brother's confidence. Countess Henrietta. Just as he always been to me. It was my responsibility to protect him, and it was safer this way. Countess Clare, I suggest you mind your own concerns. As Viscount Harry's sister, and as the mistress of Edgewater, it is my concern. Mother, we have been talking round in circles about this since Bath. I can't change the past. You will simply have to learn to accept what Viscount Harry and I did. Countess Herrita waves dismissively, her face still contorted in a scowl, and turns away from her son. You glance around the table once more. The staff begins to clear away the dessert plates, and your guests all turn to look at you. You realize they are waiting for you to stand. Ah, right. Ladies, let us retire to the parlor while the men enjoy their cigars. Later that evening, you are sipping raspberry shrub in the parlor with Miss Parsons as the other ladies laughed and gossiped. I couldn't believe the sight of it, Annabelle. The ashes. Poor Mr. Sinclair. We shall have to make it our duty to cheer him at every opportunity. I swear it. Just then the parlor door opens and the men file inside the room. Phil inside the room, sorry. Ah, the men have finally decided to come through. Let's see if any of them wish to join us for a game of cards. Yes, Viscount Harry adores card games, and it will give you a chance to really get to know him. Then Parsons raised Viscount Harry over. He approaches with hesitation. My lord, fancy a game of fidget it on with me and Countess Clare. He glances around the room, avoiding eye contact with you. I love to, but I must speak with my mother at once. Before Miss Parsons has a chance to respond, Viscount Harry hurries away. Is he frightened to talk to me or something? Like, what the fuck is going on? How unusual. The Harry I knew would never have turned down a game of cards. Yes, well, I've been trying to speak with him all day, but he keeps finding a reason to be elsewhere whenever I approach. That's his loss then. He doesn't know what he's missing. You let out a heavy sigh. I'm sorry to learn that my half-brother doesn't wish to know me. Perhaps it's best not to dwell on it. I'm sure he'll come around in time. In the meantime, you should be thinking of happy things, like your upcoming wedding. Being back at Edgewater does make it feel more real than ever before. It's truly happening. How do you feel? I can't wait to walk down the aisle. I'll be picturing you standing beside me. Even more than that, I can't wait for what comes afterward. A lifetime with my beloved. Parsons reaches out and gently squeezes your hand for a brief moment. At long last, the shadow falls over the two of you, and you crane your neck to find Prince Hammond and Mr. Chambers standing over you. Miss Parsons, might Mr. Chambers and I share in Countess Clare's company for a few moments? I suppose I have been monopolizing her for a while now. I dare say you two have earned some time together. I must agree, but all of my guests should have the honor of my attention at some point. You jest, but it has been nigh impossible to get a moment with you all evening. The Countess of Edgewater is quite popular. His eyes sweep over the plush blue fabric of your dress, and his smile broadens. And who can blame anyone for wishing to spend time in the presence of one so radiant? You do look quite marvelous tonight, my lady. Mr. Chambers, might I ask, where is Mr. Cannavy this evening? I thought he would be here. He had business to attend to in Moorfield. He sends his fondest regards. Prince Henry draws in a long breath, then lets it out with a smile. Countess Clare, I wanted you to be the first to know. I decided to remain in England indefinitely. Oh, what wonderful news! Yes, how very splendid. What made you decide to stay? I fell in love with the country when I first stepped off the ship, but it's more than that. I feel a sense of belonging here that I never felt before. I found a home. Though I must admit, I feel I was nervous about it as well. You? Nervous? Color me shocked. Whatever about? I haven't been away from my family for so long since I was a boy. Suppose you could say I'm homesick. Huh? Yes, in fact, I received a letter from my mother earlier today. Perhaps that's why I'm dwelling on it. What does she think about all this? My mother says that being in England too long will change me, that I'll lose my sense of adventure. Nonsense. I can't imagine you losing your sense of adventure. You wouldn't be yourself anymore. I think that's precisely her concern. We know nothing of your mother, so how are we to trust her assessment? Yes, perhaps you should tell us about her, so we can properly argue to keep you here. That seems perfectly reasonable to me. Very well. She is the one who inspired my love of travel and my appreciation of the finer things in life. She has an eye for art. The best. Do you take after her looks as well? I'm not humble enough to deny it. She's a great beauty. Tell us more about her travels. The way my father tells it, my mother's love of travel is what made him fall in love with her. At the deployment, my father was frequently away from home, like someone else I know. Very much so. My father instantly took to this woman who was more excited to explore a new city than he was. It sounds like they were destined to be. I very much agree. She never wanted to settle down, and that suited him well. Suppose that means your thirst for adventure was inevitable too? Tell me, Your Highness, are you still feeling homesick? Now that you ask? No. Was that your plan all along in getting me to tell you of my mother? It may have been. Miss Parsons and I merely played along. Yes, Captain Clare was the mastermind. You're a clever one, my lady. To quote a friend, I'm not humble enough to deny it. Chris Hammett chuckles. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna stop this video there now again. I'm about to go to bed there soon. Y'all, guys, have a great night. Stay safe and take care. Love you all. Bye bye.